The groom did not just leave Naomi Carter at the altar. He married her sister in front of 300 people. And when the room turned to watch Naomi break, a Korean Mafia boss walked through the chapel doors, looked at the empty chair beside her, and said, "Then I will take his seat." Naomi had spent 18 months planning that wedding. Not because she loved flowers, cameras, or applause. She planned it because Daniel Reed had once been a broke man in a borrowed suit, and she had believed in him when nobody with money would answer his calls. She built his first pitch deck. She corrected contracts while he slept. She mapped shipping routes, found investors, and saved his company before it learned how to stand. Daniel called her his miracle. Her family called her lucky. Her younger sister Celeste called her boring. Naomi had spent her whole life being told to forgive Celeste. Until the wedding day. The chapel was white stone, imported glass, and roses trained to behave. Naomi stood at the back in a satin gown, holding her bouquet so tightly the stems bent inside her gloves. Her father leaned close and whispered, "Whatever happens, keep dignity." Naomi turned to him. "What does that mean?" He would not meet her eyes. The music started. The guests rose. And then Celeste walked down the aisle first. Not as a bridesmaid. As the bride. Naomi heard the sound leave the room. Celeste wore a white dress with a cathedral veil. Their mother walked beside her, crying like this was holy. Daniel stood at the altar, smiling like betrayal was just a scheduling change. Naomi stepped forward, but her father caught her wrist. "Don't make a scene," he said. The words were quiet. The cruelty was not. Daniel lifted the microphone. "There has been a change," he said. "Today, I marry the woman who truly understands the life I am stepping into." People gasped. Some covered their mouths. Some lifted their phones. Naomi looked at Celeste, waiting for shame. Celeste only smiled. Daniel continued, "Naomi is loyal. But loyalty is not the same as destiny." Naomi's bouquet slipped from her hand. Roses scattered across the marble. Somebody laughed. It was small, but Naomi heard it. Then the chapel doors opened. Not gently. They opened like the building had been ordered to breathe. A man in a black suit stepped inside with 4 silent guards behind him. He was calm and young for a face that made old men lower their eyes. The room knew him before Naomi did. Kang Tae-Min. Chairman of Han River Logistics. The papers called him a billionaire. The streets called him the man soul did not betray twice. Daniel went pale. Celeste's smile vanished. Tae-Min walked down the aisle, picked up one white rose from Naomi's fallen bouquet, and handed it back to her. "This was yours," he said. Naomi took it because her hands needed something to do besides shake. Daniel forced a laugh. "Mr. Kang, this is a private ceremony." Tae-Min looked at the altar. "No. This is a public confession." The chapel went still. Tae-Min turned to the front row, where an empty chair sat beside Naomi's reserved seat. It had Daniel's name printed on a gold card. Tae-Min removed the card, tore it once, and sat down. "Continue," he said. Daniel's throat moved. Security. No one came. Celeste lifted her chin. "You cannot interrupt my wedding." Tae-Min's eyes moved to her. "I am not interrupting. I am attending the crime scene." Naomi looked at him then, really looked. He was not saving her. He was studying her, like he had come to find a thief and found the stolen thing still breathing. Tae-Min opened a black folder and placed it on the empty seat between them. Inside were contracts. Naomi recognized the headings before she understood why. Port schedules. Warehouse routes. Cold chain expansion plans. Her plans. The ones she had written at 2 in the morning while Daniel slept. The ones he later presented to investors as his own. Tae-Min tapped one page. "Your fiance sold this to me under a shell company. Celeste signed as witness. Your father notarized the transfer." Naomi felt the chapel tilt. Not because Daniel betrayed her. That wound had already opened. Because her family had helped him sharpen the knife. Her father whispered, "Naomi, listen." She did not look back. Tae-Min said, "He took my deposit. $12 million. Then he tried to sell the same plan to my rival this morning." Daniel pointed at Naomi. "She wrote some notes. That's all. She doesn't understand the business." Naomi laughed. It surprised everyone, including her. It was the sound of a woman finding the last clean part of herself and deciding not to hand it over. Tae-Min looked at her. "Do you want revenge?" Every face in that chapel waited for Naomi to become emotional, so they could call her unstable. She wiped one tear from her cheek and said, "No." Daniel exhaled. Then Naomi picked up the folder. "I want evidence." For the first time, Tae-Min smiled. Not warmly. Proudly. The ceremony did not continue. The reception did. Daniel was arrogant enough to believe champagne could bury anything. By 7, the ballroom was full. Celeste had changed into silver. Daniel toasted his new bride. Their mother dabbed her eyes for photographs. Naomi sat at table 19, the table for people of family was too polite to remove and too ashamed to honor. Tae-Min sat beside her. He said nothing for 20 minutes. Then he slid a phone across the table. On the screen was a recording from that morning. Daniel's voice. Naomi will cry and leave. Her name is not on anything important. Celeste's laugh followed. She never puts her name on things. That's why she is useful. Naomi closed her eyes. Tae-Min said, I can destroy them before dessert. Naomi opened her eyes. No. After the toast. Let him stand first. This time, his smile showed teeth. At 8:15, Daniel took the stage under crystal lights. To family, he said. To loyalty. To the future we built together. Naomi rose. The room noticed slowly, then all at once. She walked to the stage with Tae-Min's black folder under her arm. Daniel lowered the microphone. Naomi, please do not embarrass yourself. Naomi took the microphone from his hand. I won't. She turned to the guests. My sister married my fiance today. That is not the scandal. The scandal is that the company Daniel is celebrating was built from stolen work, stolen money, and a contract he sold twice. Daniel reached for the microphone. Tae-Min's guard stepped between them. Naomi lifted the first page. This is the original logistics plan. You will see my initials in the footer because I was foolish enough to believe love did not need signatures. She lifted the second. This is the shell company Daniel used to sell it. And this is my father's notarization. Her mother stood. Naomi, enough. Naomi looked at her. You taught me enough. Celeste rose so fast her chair fell backward. She is bitter because he chose me. Naomi nodded. Yes. He chose you. She looked at Daniel. And now you can both keep each other. Then she played the recording. Naomi will cry and leave. Her name is not on anything important. Celeste's laugh filled the ballroom. She never puts her name on things. That's why she is useful. No one moved. The photographer lowered his camera. Daniel's investors began checking their phones. Celeste's face changed from beautiful to afraid. Tae-Min stood from table 19. He did not raise his voice. He did not need to. Han River Logistics is withdrawing all funds from Daniel Reed Holdings. My legal team has already frozen the deposit. Anyone who signs with him after tonight signs with a man under investigation. Daniel looked like a groom carved out of ash. You cannot do this. Tae-Min walked to the stage and stopped beside Naomi. I can. But she did. The room turned again. Not toward Celeste. Not toward Daniel. Toward Naomi. The woman they had seated at table 19. The woman they thought would cry and leave. Tae-Min took a small envelope from his jacket and placed it in her hand. Your original proposal, he said. With your name restored. Naomi opened it. There it was, Carter Global Routes. Her company name. Her signature line. Her future, returned from the hands that had stolen it. I have an offer, Tae-Min said. The room held its breath like it was waiting for a proposal. He looked at Naomi, not the crowd. Not marriage. Not charity. Partnership. Naomi stared at him. Why? Because you built a plan worth stealing, he said. And you are the only person here who did not sell herself to keep a seat. For a moment, Naomi heard nothing but a door opening somewhere inside her. She turned back to the guests. I came here today to become a wife. Her voice did not shake. Instead, I became a witness. To your fraud. To your envy. To your silence. Then she looked at Tae-Min. And to my own name. Naomi stepped down from the stage. Daniel called after her. Naomi, wait. We can fix this. She paused at the ballroom doors. For 1 second, he looked like the man she had once loved. Then she remembered the empty chair, the laughter, and that love without respect is just a prettier cage. You already fixed it, she said. You showed me where I do not belong. 3 months later, Daniel Reed Holdings collapsed. Celeste sold her wedding ring to pay lawyers. Naomi did not attend the hearings. She was in Seoul, signing the first contract for Carter Global Routes. Kang Tae-Min sat across the table, silent as ever, watching her read every line before she signed. When she finished, he said, You still do not trust me. Naomi capped her pen. I trust paper. He laughed then. A small, dangerous laugh, like a man discovering he had finally met someone he could not own. Outside the window, the city glittered cold and bright. Naomi looked at her reflection in the glass. No veil. No borrowed name. No empty seat. Just a woman who had been replaced at the altar and walked out with an empire. And the Korean Mafia boss who came to collect a debt discovered the one thing more valuable than revenge. A woman who remembered her worth before anyone else did.